Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of the On the Ring podcast. I am here, I am Andrew, and I am, of course, being joined by Jason like I am every single week.
What's up, guys? Another week of wrestling we get to talk about.
Hell yeah, it's going to definitely be interesting because I think we have numerous things to talk about. I want to say that in starting off the show today, right now, I just noticed, I was scrolling down my Facebook feed when we were having everybody call in, and WWE.com has posted a roughly 2-minute video of Caitlyn saying goodbye to the WWE Universe. So I'd like to kind of direct everybody over to the website to watch that, because I know I'm going to watch it. I definitely enjoyed Caitlyn as a performer. What little bit we got to see of her, I really enjoyed her and AJ's stuff. So, just want to let everybody know.
I'm actually pretty disappointed. I don't know if it's that they didn't re-sign her or she didn't re-sign, but she might be another TNA going down there. But I did enjoy watching her and AJ, so it's kind of sad to see her go, because she was actually, I think, a person that could have been a lot of talent in the Divas division.
Yeah, I'm not sure if she is. I don't think she's going to be going to TNA. I mean, she has left the WWE, which should mean that she's the 90-day no compete clause in that contract, which means she's not going to be able to wrestle anywhere for 90 days, or maybe it's wrestle anywhere that has a TV presence. But I do know there's like a 90-day thing where she's not going to be able to compete anywhere. I literally think she's not allowed to wrestle for any other organization for 90 days. But I'm not 100% sure about that. But yeah, upset to see her go. Crazy episode of Monday Night Raw, which ended with Daniel Bryan shedding the Wyatt's clothing and going to town on Bray Wyatt while they were locked inside of a steel cage.
Yeah, and I didn't expect. I honestly didn't expect that at all, to see that this early before WrestleMania. But I'm happy to see Daniel Bryan back in the fan favorite spot, basically. But was not expecting that to this early, especially on a Raw. I was kind of expecting it to be at like a pay-per-view, or I was actually really expecting it to be at Royal Rumble. But I'm happy to see him back. But I mean, getting back to the match they had, which I liked their first match with the Usos. They had a pretty good match. But I mean, you were talking yesterday, but I wasn't too excited to see them again. It was cool to see it in the steel cage, but it was just like, we just seen this. Why are we going to see it again? But it was still cool, and it was a total game changer for Daniel now.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I had said to you that I don't like them doing. I did end up getting into the cage match and being really excited and everything, but I had a hard time getting into the idea of them having the same match again later that night. It almost felt like a rush job, or they weren't sure who to put into a main event spot, and it almost felt like this steel cage match should have happened on SmackDown or next week on Raw. So that way it would have been spaced out a little more. And I think with Daniel Bryan turning on Bray Wyatt this early, I don't like it. I feel like it's too early. I was a big fan of him joining up with them, and you knew it was eventually going to lead into something similar to what happened last night. But I don't like that it happened so early.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it was because of the fans' reaction that they were still giving him the yes, yes, yes chance that the WWE just kind of squashed that whole thing with him being a Wyatt. Because I don't think that was really going to work with the fan base. I wanted to see more. I wanted to see the experiment. I wanted to see what they had in store, but I don't think the fans did.
WWE, in my opinion, hot-shotting another angle. I really think they should have stuck with it a little bit longer. And I do wonder if that's what it was, that they were trying to, there's a piece of me that kind of is like, I wonder if they were putting him in the Wyatts because they were purposely trying to stop the yes chance and stop having Daniel Bryan be so over. And they realized that it didn't work. Because I feel like the machine does not, and you could just tell from what happened in from SummerSlam to what happened from SummerSlam to Survivor Series or was that Hell in a Cell? That whole championship thing and the Authority versus Daniel Bryan, that whole championship thing and fighting the Shield and going against Randy Orton, and it felt like they didn't. It felt like the machine doesn't want to get behind Daniel Bryan, and they're trying to do things to purposely kill his momentum because they don't want to plaster him up as their world champion or have him be the guy or anything like that. And the fans are clearly at a point where they're saying, we've had enough, and we're going to make a star whether you want to make him a star or not.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, the fans were behind him as he was. They were trying to, what it looked like, to make him a huge heel, and it just did not work. And
yeah, and it was almost coming, and it was almost like we're going to try to turn him into this semi-heel because if he's a heel, then the audience won't cheer for him, and if the audience isn't cheering for him, then we'll finally kill the yes chance after the yes chance have been going on for literally almost 2 years now. I think in April it'll officially be 2 years of the yes chance, and they're still going. Hell, they're going stronger than they've ever been.
I was about to say last night that was the loudest I've heard him for a while.
And I commend the WWE production crew and the camera crew. They did an amazing job with that segment, with the audience yelling yes, 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 and doing it with Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan, a great job. He didn't just jump right into it and be like, yes, 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 so fast. He had everybody going, and then when he backed into the corner, it was like this slow, like, yes, yes, and then slowly built it. And as he built it, the camera and production crew just did a great job of showing the fact that thousands of people in the audience are all doing this in unison with Daniel Bryan. And I think maybe tonight more than any other time, Daniel Bryan was made into a star by this audience.
I would have to agree with that. I did watch the Under Raw, and they were definitely behind him more than not more than usual, because everywhere they go, he's getting all these yes chants, and I don't think the WWE is going to be able to stop Daniel Bryan at this point. I think he's just going to be made a superstar, like you said, because the
and that
fans
seems
want
to be
it.
the case. Is that it almost feels like it's a constantly rising thing where it's like you hit a plateau for a little bit and then it gets bigger, and then you hit that. Just like anything else, you can't go straight rocket straight up. You got to go up a little bit, and then you'll hit a plateau, and then you're going to go up a little bit more, and then you're going to hit a plateau. And it feels like Daniel Bryan is not hitting that plateau going down. He's hitting the plateau, he's staying on the plateau for a little bit, and then he's going up even more.
Yeah.
And I think it's amazing. Like, again, I posted the video, the WWE YouTube video of it and today, and I said, even if you aren't a wrestling fan, you should watch how Daniel Bryan commands the audience. It's beyond amazing. all those people in the entire arena in unison, and I was just straight up in awe last night.
Yeah, that was honestly that was pretty crazy.
It was unlike anything I've ever seen. I think the last time that I've really seen an audience that engaged in a WWE product or doing something, I almost feel like the last time that happened was when The Rock came back at WrestleMania for WrestleMania 27, and he was announced as the host. And you know what? Maybe even that doesn't come close to this. I mean, like I said on Twitter, Daniel Bryan has got to be the most over WWE superstar of the last at least 10 years.
Yeah, I would have to agree. The fans are literally making him a superstar.
It's the same thing that happened with CM Punk when they let CM Punk have that live microphone for just 6 or 7 minutes. And he said all of those things, said whatever he wanted leading up into Money in the Bank. And it was like, after he said that promo, the audience was like, this is our guy. Like, and everywhere you went, CM Punk chants were raining down and that kind of stuff. And it was really, the audience was making him a star. But unlike this time, the WWE, the machine, killed his momentum. He later went on to be this long reigning defending champion, but still, right after that, they killed CM Punk's momentum, and it just so happened to work. The audience was still behind him, the audience was still invested in him, but not as much as they were before, and they effectively killed CM Punk's momentum. And it feels like they're trying really hard, but they're not able to kill Daniel Bryan's momentum.
And I honestly don't think they will. And I think it's going to go all the way up. And now more than ever, they're going to be behind Daniel Bryan. So I don't think they're going to kill Daniel Bryan for. I'd say I give them maybe even another year if they don't kill him out.
Yeah, now. I was thinking about this before we logged on for the podcast. I was thinking about this. The Royal Rumble is in less than 2 weeks. Is Daniel Bryan going to be in the Royal Rumble? And if Daniel Bryan is in the Royal Rumble, if he doesn't win, you got to know that whoever eliminates Daniel Bryan is going to become like the most hated person in the company.
Yeah, and I think the money has to be on one of the Wyatt family members if they're in it. If any of them are in it, I would say one of them are gonna.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where this story was leading, because at first I thought, okay, like we would get this, maybe it wasn't a steel cage match, but we would get this Daniel Bryan turn from being a Wyatt member into being a babyface again. I didn't think it was going to happen so soon. I really pictured it being maybe 3 or 4 weeks from now, after the Royal Rumble, where we're kind of like maybe a week or two from the Elimination Chamber, and we can build towards Daniel Bryan fighting Bray Wyatt in a one-on-one match for the first time ever at WrestleMania, and really build it. Like, this would be a long-running story that really would have started before Survivor Series, where, he hasn't been able to get his hands on or fight Bray Wyatt. And then we can finally have this big, one-on-one match at WrestleMania. But with Daniel Bryan breaking off so soon, I don't know if they can keep it going and interesting enough to make it get to WrestleMania.
Yeah, so that leaves the question, is he going to win the Royal Rumble, maybe, and still go on that path versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania, or will he fight Bray?
That would be interesting, because Daniel Bryan has so much momentum. I could easily see him winning the Royal Rumble, and and it making sense. And he's not going to be out of the loop or anything. And You know what I mean? And it won't feel forced or anything. He can be main event, and he can do it.
I still think the obvious, not the obvious pick, but I still think Batista is a huge factor in this Royal Rumble. That he is gonna.
And I'm gonna say, yeah, I really hope to God that Batista doesn't win this Royal Rumble.
And I'm on the same boat. I don't want to see him. We had this conversation last week that we don't want to see him just get thrown right in the main eventing position.
Yeah, and if that happens, you're gonna be looking at, depending on what happens, you could be looking at Randy Orton versus Batista again. Randy Orton versus Batista, and it's like, it even happened last night. I posted up and I said, like, what are we living in 2007 again? Like, I almost don't like these steps we're taking backwards. I'm okay with Batista coming back. I'm cool with it. Don't have him win the Royal Rumble. He doesn't need to win the Royal Rumble. There's no point. There's nothing. No one's going to benefit from him winning the Royal Rumble. And then we have Randy Orton getting frustrated, and he's in the championship match with John Cena, so he's frustrated. So what does he do? He turns around and starts attacking John Cena's father at ringside. And I felt like I was just reliving the same shit that I already watched in 2007, and then again in 2009, and I was frustrated with that whole thing with Randy Orton and attacking Cena's father, and I don't like it.
Yeah, that part of the match I did not enjoy. I do follow a few pages on Facebook, and I've seen exactly what you just said about reliving 2007, about attacking or attacking Cena's dad, and yeah, I didn't like that either. But I honestly didn't like the match either. But the ending definitely shocked the hell out of me. I was literally sitting on my phone messaging you, and now all you hear is Kofi wins, and I was just like, what? No way.
Yeah, it was like, right when I had lost interest. Well, I had lost interest a few minutes before that, but it was like I had lost interest, and I was like, oh, whatever. I'm kind of like half paying attention, and I was like, oh, Kofi at the SOS, he's doing his fight back. That's cool. And then he pinned him, and I was like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, and you would think Kofi would get the title shot, but that's never gonna happen. Because we really were in 2007. Whoever beats the champion has the number one contender spot right there, but not now.
And that makes sense. Obviously, if he gets a championship match, it won't happen before John Cena's match at the Royal Rumble. And then you still got Elimination Chamber, so maybe they'll do something where the night after the Royal Rumble, they will announce Elimination Chamber, and Kofi will get put in it because he beat the champ, and that'll be the explaining. That'll be the explaining as to how Kofi makes sense to be in the match, I guess.
And I'm actually wondering. Last year, did they have the Elimination Chamber wasn't for the championship, was it?
Correct. Elimination Chamber was for the number one contender spot.
Yeah, I'm wondering what's going to go on with that, because they don't even have a heavyweight title anymore. So I guess you would say that they're going to get a number one contender. Maybe they get a number one contender spot at Extreme Rules after WrestleMania.
No, the way I was looking at it was that the way I was looking at it is that what's his name? I'm sorry. Let me start over. The way I was looking at it is the winner of the Royal Rumble is going to go to WrestleMania no matter what, and you know what champion he's facing. There's no decision. So that means if there's going to be an Elimination Chamber match, that I am assuming it's going to be for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. and the champion will defend his title inside of the Elimination Chamber. Unless they're going to throw almost like a curveball and the Elimination Chamber will be used for lower card and maybe the Intercontinental Championship will be defended inside of the chamber instead. And they'll do more of a mid-card Elimination Chamber.
I just don't see that happening just because they've been looking at the ratings they've been getting. They've been getting better, but if they do that, I don't think the ratings are going to be good at all. If they do what the pay-per-view is supposed to be about on a mid-card and championship, I just don't know about that. I don't know if they're going to get
no,
what
you
they
would
want out
still
of
have
that.
a WWE World Heavyweight Championship match. You would still have all these build-up and stuff, but the Elimination Chamber match itself will be contested with them.
All right, well, we'll have to see what happens there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do because they have multiple different routes they could go.
And one thing I did want to talk about on this was I didn't want to jump on the CM Punk topic yet, but I did want to maybe throw out there that maybe at the Royal Rumble the Brotherhood might not break up there, but start the feud between them two because if you watch their match, the commentators were talking about how they eliminated. Or Cody eliminated Goldust at the last one, and Goldust said he was going to eliminate Cody. So possibly, maybe there could be their feud.
I would say that's not. I would say that's not far-fetched. I think it's highly possible that they could start teasing or eliminate each other, even if they go to WrestleMania and not be a crazy feud. It's like a shake hands, we're friends feud.
Yeah.
It's possible. And not unlikely.
And I was just thinking maybe they would do that. They would eliminate each other, lose at Elimination Chamber their titles, and then the road to WrestleMania, have them feud on Raw a few times, maybe have them tag team, have them kind of not work together well, and then lead up to like the 2 weeks to WrestleMania, and then really not get along, and then go into WrestleMania having their feud. Just a thought.
Yeah. Here's something I noticed last night is WWE we're really annoyed at the whole John Cena, Randy Orton thing. Is WWE trying to build new superstars or things going into WrestleMania? Because if you've noticed, we had the TLC match, and I think it was the night after TLC we had the Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton one-on-one match, and I think that was the last time that it was Randy Orton or John Cena in the main event segment. It seems like old school Raw, they were the starting segment, and then we didn't see them for the whole rest of the 3 hours. And this week, they were like the second or third match segment, and then like a match in the middle. But it's like they're not being. It's interesting because it's the WWE World Heavyweight Champion and the championship match, and it's John Cena and Randy Orton, two of their golden boys, especially John Cena, and they're not like being predominantly featured. It's like the big storylines are the Wyatts and Daniel Bryan and CM Punk and The Shield, and then Brock Lesnar and the Big Show is getting, Brock Lesnar in general, and then adding in the Big Show is getting like decent TV and airtime, and it's almost like Randy Orton and John Cena are almost like an afterthought.
Yeah, it seems like they're being pushed under the rug more than the other ones. And honestly, it doesn't really make sense to me that they would do that because, like you said, their two golden boys are in the middle of the show. They're not main eventing. It's something to think about. I don't know. It's different.
I'm okay with it.
Anything different they want to put up, I'm definitely down. It's different. It's definitely better for WWE.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm kind of tired of both of them. I was excited for the Randy Orton heel turn, but I don't like this cowardly heel they have him playing, where he's like this pansy ass running around complaining and crying and shit all the time. Like, I understand the heel is going to complain a little bit sometimes or whatever. I don't like that they have this, like, whining, crying Randy Orton. Like, I don't believe, like, you know, I almost don't believe he can beat anybody. Like, I'm almost like, he can't beat anybody. It's whatever.
And I think that's what they're trying to do. I think they're doing that, and then he's gonna beat Cena at a Royal Rumble. That's just that match could be anything, but
that match is a complete toss-up in my opinion. Either guy could win, just like TLC. Just, you know, it's the same thing. Just like at the TLC pay-per-view, it's a toss-up. Either one of those guys could win.
Yeah.
Which is good. I like when there's not a clear-cut winner sometimes.
Yeah, and if you caught the Kane and Randy Orton little thing, that's kind of what they did there too. Orton was like, or actually Kane said it. He was just like, you can go beat up Kofi tonight, and then he took him too lightly, and then he got pinned out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yep. Switch topics a little bit. If that's okay with you.
Always.
So I definitely called it last week. The big announcement was the WWE Network. And once the WWE Network comes out, I'm going to end up watching so much wrestling.
I'm on the same boat there. $10 for a pay-per-view and all the wrestling I want? I think so.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little. I'm gonna end up maybe not a little nuts. I'm gonna end up watching a lot more wrestling than I do now. I think this is a huge move for them, and you know, I think it's awesome, crazy and awesome that, like, they did this, and all of these different media outlets are kind of all saying the same thing. They're all kind of saying this is a really smart move, and like, this is the future of not just wrestling, but this is the future of entertainment, like television. Like, this is where everything's going, where it's almost like how the WWE presented it, where it's almost a mix of live TV, like a live TV feed, like a TV channel, mixed with the video on demand possibilities and services of something like a Netflix or a Hulu.
And just to say, I'll definitely be tuning into that NXT. I don't really follow NXT too much, but I would like to follow it, and so I'm definitely going to be watching the stars they're bringing up there. But
I'm hoping that NXT being on the network is not going to change NXT too much, because in all honesty, a hand over my heart, NXT is out of Raw, SmackDown, TNA Impact, and NXT. NXT is the the number one wrestling show that I look most forward to watching every week.
See, I don't even know what night NXT's on. So, I mean, that's why I'm excited for this.
You can get yourself prepared if you would like. NXT is free on Hulu, and they upload the latest episode it's like really late night on Wednesday, so I end up watching it Thursday or Friday, or even on the weekend if I'm really busy. Because it'll be like 11:30 on Wednesday night that it gets up sometimes. So I don't even pay attention. I just go on Thursday and look. Absolutely excellent show. You got your Sami Zayn, who's just a phenomenal wrestler. Formerly El Generico of the indie scene, and you got Bo Dallas, who's just got this great gimmick. If you guys think Bo Dallas and what your mind goes to is what you saw at the Royal Rumble and like that 1 or 2 weeks on Raw with the whole Wade Barrett thing, forget about that. This is a brand new Bo Dallas who is a heel who like thinks everybody loves him. It's amazing. He is phenomenal in the role. You got your high fly, your great high flying. You got Adrian Neville, who in my opinion is the next Rey Mysterio. A shout out to one of the NXT women, Emma, who was shown on Raw last night. She had the Emma Tanning sign. They mentioned it real quick. And just they got tons of awesome talent down there.
And now I'm looking forward to the network a lot more. Hearing about this, I literally haven't seen one NXT show, so I mean, I'll definitely be.
To you and to anybody out there who's a professional wrestling fan, especially if you watch the WWE, watch NXT. Like I said, it's my number one. I enjoy watching NXT sometimes more than I enjoy watching Raw.
And I'm definitely catching up on that. You said it's on Hulu?
It's on Hulu. It is free on Hulu. You don't need a Hulu Plus account. It is free.
I will definitely be catching up.
And I gotta give a shout out to two of my favorite guys that are on NXT, Enzo Amore and Big Cass, Cassidy, who's just. These guys are amazing, and they came up with a catchphrase. I mean, if these guys came on the main roster, this catchphrase would catch on just as quick as the yes chant, and would be. Now, you don't really yell it like you do yes. You kind of only say it when he says it. Almost like because Stone Cold said so, or if you smell what The Rock is cooking, or I'm awesome. You say it with the guys. It's not really something you yell all the time, but they have this catchphrase where they say that the person they're fighting is SAWFT soft, and it's great. They come out and they do their thing, the SAWFT, and then the whole audience goes soft, and it's. I think if they came onto the main roster, they're not. Now I'll be honest, they're not great workers. Don't be expecting to see a Dean Ambrose or Seth Rollins or Daniel Bryan or CM Punk out of these guys. I'm not saying they're terrible, because they're in no way, shape, or form terrible. They're just not phenomenal wrestlers. But I think that gimmick and that catchphrase would get them over.
Yeah.
So
I'm very looking forward to the NXT.
Yeah. And before we move on, I just do want to say one more thing about NXT. I've heard rumors that the first NXT that Wednesday that first NXT, I guess because they're going to be showing it on the network, it won't be so late, like at 11 o'clock anymore. But anyway, I heard that first episode of NXT that's going to air on Wednesday on the WWE Network, which would be Wednesday, February the 26th. I heard that first episode of NXT that's going to air is going to be a special first time ever live edition of NXT with two phenomenal main event matches. You're going to get Antonio Cesaro going against Sami Zayn in a rematch. I believe this is just going to be a regular match, but a lot of people know that back in August or September of 2013, these two men had a 2 out of 3 falls match, which was amazing and was dubbed NXT Match of the Year. So they're going to be fighting each other in a rematch. And I heard a rumor that the main event will be Bo Dallas defending his NXT championship against Adrian Neville in a ladder match. And if you've never seen Adrian Neville, let me tell you, think Rey Mysterio when he was in his prime.
That's something I would look forward to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to say compare him to Rey Mysterio. I'm just saying if you need a visual representation in your mind to try to think of what Adrian Neville is, I would say think Rey Mysterio in his prime. That's what Adrian Neville is. So that's my 2 cents. I know I droned on about NXT a little bit. Why don't you go ahead? Maybe we'll do another 10 minutes or so. Do you want to, since I droned on, do you want to do your questions so that way you could get a little words in edgewise?
Well, my question was actually it's a few weeks late. We didn't really talk about it, but what's your opinion on Hulk Hogan being fired on TNA?
Okay, I'll let you go first since I just talked everybody's fucking ears off with my NXT rant.
Well, and it's not even that I don't think Hulk Hogan did a good job in TNA or anything. I think, oh crap! I just lost train of thought. Yeah. Oh, my thought is who's gonna replace him is what I'm more thinking. I mean, Hulk Hogan, I'd say he did a pretty decent job in TNA. He wasn't great, but he wasn't terrible. But my biggest thing is who's going to replace him and who's going to really take the role there.
Very, very interesting thought. I don't think that he was fired. I think they couldn't come to an agreement. I don't think it was necessarily what's the word? I don't think it was necessarily like them saying firing Hulk Hogan per se. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they couldn't come to an agreement, and that definitely hurt them.
Yeah, and something I was actually pretty not disappointed, but questioned was the week of Old School Raw was the week he got fired, or I'm pretty sure it was the week before he, like that Thursday, he got not fired or whatever happened to him, but he didn't appear on Old School Raw, which was it just got my attention. Like, why? Like, I don't know. I just expected him to be on there.
And that's interesting that you would think this. I didn't really expect that he was going to be on Old School Raw. I don't know why. I just was kind of, thinking to myself, like, I don't think it's going to happen. Like, if he were to come back prior to WrestleMania to maybe do something for WrestleMania, I feel like he would come back closer to Mania. I don't know. That's interesting. That thought hadn't
really crossed your mind.
Crossed my mind of him being at Old School Raw.
Well, before we get off here, let's go to the other topic I wanted to kind of talk about, which was CM Punk with the New Age Outlaws leaving him out to dry yesterday against the Shield.
That was a huge shock. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat as you. I did not see that coming, but I think that kind of made me scratch my head and kind of clear the cobwebs and say I think it's almost set in stone that it's going to be a Triple H CM Punk at WrestleMania. I don't think CM Punk is going to win the Rumble. I think they're going to lead up to him being screwed out of the Rumble, and it's going to be on the Authority. They do something to have him get eliminated, and it's going to set up that.
I am right there with you. I think that I'm right there with you. I actually for a while had him pinned as my I had him kind of pinned as my winner. But I don't think it's going to happen anymore.
Yeah, and honestly, that's why I think Batista's the biggest, or he's the one that's going to win it, just because I think CM Punk's going to get screwed out by the Authority, and I think Daniel Bryan, who was the other favorite, is going to get screwed out by the Wyatt family. So that's the reason why my pick would be Batista in the Rumble.
No, yeah, and with Batista coming back, and WWE has been a little notorious with and it makes sense to have it happen. Not that I'm saying it's illogical, but they have had many times where a person who's returning wins the Royal Rumble. That's interesting. It's not illogical. I think Batista is a pretty safe bet to possibly win the Royal Rumble. It'd be interesting to see what happens. I think everything is going to get really interesting going into WrestleMania season, and I do agree. I do agree with you that I think CM Punk will not be winning the Royal Rumble, and he will be facing Triple H at WrestleMania, which I'm okay with because I think it'll be a big storyline going into WrestleMania. And my worry is that Triple H will win, and it'll kind of bury CM Punk a little bit. I'm really hoping that if that's what happens, that Triple H does the right thing and he loses to CM Punk.
Yeah, because I'm on the same boat with you. If Punk loses at Mania to Triple H, I think Triple H is going to be able to toot his own horn the next few weeks on Raw, and then they're going to have nothing to do with CM Punk.
Yeah, especially with Triple H not being an active member of the roster, I don't feel like there's a good reason or any reason whatsoever to have him go over and beat CM Punk in that WrestleMania match. If they have it, it needs to be CM Punk winning and going over. In my opinion, there is absolutely no reason for Triple H to beat him. And
I'm right there with you. And I'm doing the same thing I did last week. I'm thinking of all the things I want to talk about at the end of the show, but I don't know if you caught what Cole said yesterday that when Ryback came out, when he said something about him going on a Twitter rampage, which I don't even have a Twitter or anything, but like I said, I follow things on Facebook, and he was saying things like he was getting released, and then like hours later he said that he got released from like the station of a police station. Like he literally was making no sense, and I don't know if you know anything about what he was saying, but it was the stupidest things that he could be saying. And I don't know what he was even looking to get out of the fans. He just doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I heard about that. I'm not really sure. I feel like I heard a rumor that he got hacked, and that's what it was. But then I'm almost like, if he was hacked, if he was hacked, then why would they bring it up on
Raw? Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't figure that part out.
Yeah, that's probably something that's never going to be ever found out if he was actually hacked or not. But I sure as hell hope he was, because what I was reading, that made zero amount of sense.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. Completely agree with you. But, we're coming up on just about our hour, so I think we're going to, close up for the show. We covered a lot of topics. We talked about the Daniel Bryan, and we talked about the CM Punk, and we talked about possible WrestleMania plans, Royal Rumble wins, the WWE Network, NXT, your question about Hulk Hogan leaving TNA and not being at old school Raw. Yeah, I mean, we definitely covered a lot, and I think it's about time we sign off. Jason, is there any place that the people can find you if you want them to find you?
Like it is every week, guys. It is at JasonF96 on Instagram. That is it for this week, guys. Peace.
All right, and I am your host, Andrew, and you can find me on the Twitter. You can find me at Kibe Talk. It's KIBETALK at Kibe Talk on Twitter. This has been an episode Beyond the Ring podcast, and we hope to hear from you guys next week. Sound off in the comment section, like the page, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We will catch you next week as we cover the final Monday Night Raw leading into the Royal Rumble.